Good morning and welcome to the Core Connection. I'm Mira Rubin here with you on Enlightened World Network. And today's topic is step by step. How do we progress toward the fulfillment of our intentions and our dreams? So we get to talk about that in a little bit. But before we get started, let's take a minute or two to get present. Let's take a deep breath in through your nose and hold it. And imagine clean, crisp oxygen flooding your lungs, flowing into your bloodstream, nourishing all your cells, all your organs, bringing vital life energy to your body and being. And as you exhale any tension, stress, negativity, fatigue. And now let's take another deep breath in through your nose and hold it. This time, imagine brilliant, bright light lighting you up from the inside out, illuminating, electrifying, and energizing all your cells, your molecules, your electrons, creating a brilliant beam of light and energy from your heart out into the world. And as you exhale any remaining tension, stress, negativity, fatigue. And now let's press our palms together and vigorously rub your hands together to feel all those sensations, the friction, the temperature, the motion, the pressure, and the tickling and tingling when you stop, and allow all those sensations to bring you present right here, right now, into this remarkable physical form that enables you to experience life. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Good morning, Rosalind. So good to have you here with us this morning, and welcome to everyone else who's joining us. Today, we're talking about step by step. How do we move in the direction of our dreams? We often get distracted and derailed and sometimes disenchanted, and what we can do in those moments is put our attention back on our footfall, one foot in front of the other, one step after another. And when we lose our balance, we can replant our feet and just continue in reconnecting. It's there are times when we'll lose our way, and sometimes we get to recalibrate in those times and redirect ourselves. But always it's one foot in front of the other. Always it's step by step. And sometimes we don't get to see the progress. And other times that seeming lack of progress in itself is progress. So that seems maybe like a cryptic statement. Let's talk about what I mean. This comes from a conversation I had yesterday with a client that I've had for quite a while, who's had lots of life trauma to work through. And essentially, if we were to distill down what this trauma was that besides physical and emotional, mental abuse, sexual abuse, besides all of that, believe it or not, there's a besides all of that, or part of all of that, was that their wants, needs, desires, dreams were always being denied, that their voice was unheard, that they were made to feel irrelevant and invisible. And it was fascinating to hear a revelation from them yesterday in the course of our work, where we were moving into this realm that was very protected. And Had we been using a different modality, for instance, had it been hypnosis or maybe even NLP as a practitioner, or some other modality, even as a practitioner of those arts, there's an agenda typically of the practitioner. The agenda is to have a breakthrough, or to see a certain outcome. And in the core connection work that I do, the intention is to be guided by the wisdom of the client's higher intelligence. And this client was saying, no, that's it. Like this, we're not going any further than this today. And what I mentioned in our conversation was that had it been a hypnosis session, as a practitioner, I probably would have pushed for an outcome. And because this work is very much about client guidance and direction, we didn't. And the client said, I think it's because there were agendas run by other people in previous work that I've done that I haven't been able to achieve the results. Because it was more of the same. It was more of the disregard for me and my wants and my needs and my desires that was at the core of the issues. And a modality that epitomizes the abusive behavior isn't one that is going to resonate. So I thought this was a brilliant insight on their part to say, oh, wow, like maybe the reason that this work is working is because it is respectful of my own pace and my own timing, and that's where the trust is evolving. That's where the sense of self is getting stronger. And welcome, Jenny. Oh my gosh. Jenny says, I got horrible sick and spent 4 days in ICU and 2 in recovery. Wow. I'm wondering, Jenny, are you home? I want to welcome you back. We've been sending love and prayers your way. I hope that you're doing much better. So this is another great example of step by step. When there are times of our lives that are super challenging and difficult, and we don't necessarily see an end in sight, what do? We keep putting our one foot in front of the other. Interesting that we're talking about step by step and one foot in front of the other. Jenny says, had 2 surgeries on the leg. Yes, back. Yes, thanks. Well, we're so happy to know that you're on the road to recovery, Jenny. And hopefully this will set you up for greater health going forward. That would be a lovely thing. So with this whole notion of step by step, sometimes we can't even manage beyond the next step. Sometimes it takes everything we have to take the next step. Sometimes we have to muster all our will to just take that next step. And that happens in all degrees. It can happen from physical pain or exhaustion. It can happen from emotional devastation. It can happen from circumstantial challenges. So we get to continue to put one foot in front of the other, step by step. Jenny says, one lonely week, not even a call from my family. That was my reality check. Well, I caution you, Jenny, that we are meaning-making machines. And not to say that we don't want to pay attention to the messages that are being loudly broadcast. And we get to make meanings that work for us too. So Jenny says, I am my own hero. I love that. I love that. Good for you, Jenny. That's what to come away with. That's beautiful, is that you can get through this. And if other people are part of it, great. And if not, you can do it. And congratulations. So again, step by step. So when we do this step-by-step thing, sometimes we fall down. We get to pick ourselves up again and get stepping. And sometimes we get to just give ourselves time to recuperate before that next step. You know, sometimes we get to calibrate where we're going to put our next foot down. And the idea here is that truly getting back. Good morning, Robin. Welcome. It's great to have you joining us this morning. The other thing to be looking at with this notion of step by step is that life is a process. Life is process rather than outcome. And I know we've spoken about this recently. In fact, this conversation also kind of dovetails with the conversation about progress. I'm not sure what you're saying. Robin says, boy, that was a strong first audio. I don't know what you mean by that, Robin. Anyway, we've been talking about progress and how we measure progress, and you know, the context through which we evaluate it, and the judgments that might be attendant to it. And when we're talking about step by step, it is the steps that matter. You know, we probably, I know I grew up with the saying, the ends justifies the means, or the ends doesn't justify the means. But I think what we're talking about is that it's the process of life that counts. You know, it's the process of growth and evolution. It's the process of our emergence, because hopefully we're not done till we die, right? For me anyway, in my context, once I stop learning, I start dying. That there's so much to experience and to drink in this gift of life that we are in. So Rosalind says, moving toward intentions requires a roadmap first, or not required? Was your client aware of the outcome desired? How to work towards something even though you can't put your finger on it, only feeling that like something is missing. So moving toward intentions requires a roadmap first, or not. So I don't think that there needs to be necessarily a clearly defined roadmap. So I'll give you an example. I've talked about my intentions about an eco park. And this vision of the eco park, when I took it on, I had no clue of what it was going to be, some clue of what I wanted it to be, no clue how to get there. And the intention has kind of invited the roadmap or the path, maybe not the roadmap, the path, like I can see this far ahead, to appear. So with the roadmap, a roadmap is like, do this, do that, do the other thing, with an intention. What my experience of that is that it's creating an attractive field and wonderful synchronicities that are unanticipated, nor could they have been unanticipated, appear. So as we affirm our intention by stepping forward, sometimes stepping forward into the unknown, what happens is that we are attracting, by affirming our intention, by recommitting, by reaffirming, then we are building this field. If we want to think about it that way, we're building this field of attraction that then presents things that allow us to see the next step or a few steps. And sometimes we don't ever see the whole roadmap. When we're designing a roadmap, that can be a guideline, but if we're trying to rigorously adhere to the roadmap, we often miss a lot of the signposts that the universe presents to us as a gift that can take us in new and even more fruitful direction, right? So Robin says, when I click on the comment, repeating your steps, gonna need to rewatch. Well, that would be great. Why not? Jenny says, the process is your own beliefs. The rest is cottage cheese. So it's interesting, how our beliefs shape our experience. And when often these beliefs are operating at a other than conscious level, oftentimes we have these beliefs that are driving our decisions and our behaviors, and we're not even conscious that they are, and that they're present, let alone that they're the presiding influence. And so when we allow ourselves the opportunity to slow down and look and listen and be receptive to what those beliefs, what the underlying currents are, the traumas, the beliefs, the experiences that are driving us, when we take the opportunity to recognize those things, then there's, through just the fact of the awareness of that, there's an opportunity potentially for new choices, new behaviors, new steps. And so Jenny says, attracting frequencies and intentions. And Rosalind says, so intention is an opening to the possibility. Exactly, Rosalind. So this is why I prefer intention over goals, because goals are time-bound expectations. They're kind of black and white. You make the goal, you make it or you don't. Whereas an intention is, at least in my experience of it, and this is this is my language world. It's not necessarily truth or the way it is, but it might be worthy of your consideration. Try it on, see how it fits. The intention is a broader field. It's not saying this is how it has to happen. It's saying, here's an intention, a field that I'm moving in. Here's a context, a direction. And so it's bigger because it encompasses all of me somehow. And being bigger, it allows for more potential. So Jenny says, not yet in awareness of consciousness. Yes, intention's not yet in awareness of consciousness. So, there's so much operating in our lives that is not within our conscious awareness. Our conscious awareness, we could perceive it as the tip of an iceberg, and there's so much going on underneath, so to speak. There's so much more awareness, so much more communication and perception and responses that are happening on an other than conscious level. I'll give you an example in a minute. So Robin says, intentions, goals, manifestation, different roads. I think so. Like I said, I in my lexicon, this is just my language. Goals are time-bounded expectations. They're built on expectation. They have inherent with them success and failure. And because it's kind of black and white, you either make the goal or you don't. And once you've made a goal, then what? That's kind of an end point, right? Whereas an intention is bigger than that. An intention is a context. Manifestation is maybe feedback, which is kind of awesome, to say, oh, okay, look, or milestones, like things that are indicators of alignment or misalignment. Jenny says they unfold naturally at the perfect time and place as it's meant to be. Thank you for that, Jenny. Yes, things are unfolding with intentions. And we were talking, Jenny says, I learned having expectations leads to disappointment. It certainly can, because what we're doing is we're making a projection, and it's kind of black and white. Reality either matches our expectations or it doesn't, and then reality's wrong, which is pretty funny, rather than that our expectations were perhaps misaligned. And I agree, they can very well lead to disappointment. Whereas with intentions, we can continue to recalibrate. And it's sort of the long game, so to speak, is the intentions. Robin says, your words you share give me so much food for thought. Great topic. Robin, thank you. I'm so glad to hear that. That's awesome. And Jenny says, yes, not fair to the other person when we have expectations, 100%. So I just want to, I just remembered this scenario from yesterday, and it was awesome. And just sort of talks to the depth of awareness that's going on in the other than conscious realm. So in the core connection work, it's kind of free association. And I ask people, well, what's the first thing to come to mind? And in working with this one person, they were working on something that really had a lot of shame attendant to it, and a behavior pattern that they didn't like and felt subject to, and all these sticky, not nice emotions around it. So And at one point they said, I feel like this old brown horse being led around in a corral, and there's manure everywhere, and it's stinky and smelly, and I'm stepping in it and it's sticking to me and it's awful. And I'm being led around by a ring in my nose. And as we progressed through the session, the corral became just a clean dirt corral. The ring in the nose became a non-issue. The horse was just walking around in the corral, and it was taller and had greater stature. And then after this transformation of the horse, they were talking about moments when they might regress, and they were talking about falling off the horse, and that they might fall off the horse. And so their other than conscious had presented this metaphor that just worked so richly for them on so many different levels. And they were so amused and delighted by this analogy of the horse. Gia, so glad to have you come, whether you're late or not. It's great to have you here with us. Welcome. But I am going to wrap up now. We've been talking about step by step and how we get to recalibrate ourselves and reimagine ourselves ongoingly. Rosalind says, so this brings to mind a picture's worth 1,000 words. Exactly. That's one of the things I said in that session. When setting an intention, writing a statement can narrow the spectrum of the whole picture. Maybe intentions are like clouds waiting for the right conditions to precipitate rain from the clouds. I love your poetic spirit, Rosalind. I love that analogy. That's beautiful. So yes, we're seeding those clouds with our intentions, and then things come in often very unexpected ways. So with that, that's it for this morning. I'm Mira Rubin. This is the Core Connection, and I go live here each weekday morning on the Enlightened World Network Facebook page and YouTube channel at 9 a.m. Eastern. And it is such a privilege always to be with you. I encourage you to check out the other awesome programming on Enlightened World Network and Enlightened World Living. And I hope to see you again really soon. And until next time, lots and lots.